Good morning or good lunch. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm just sitting here crocheting, making a little hat, just waiting. Can y'all hear my goats? They know I'm in here without them. So I'm a few minutes early, trying to get myself into the Christmas spirit. And I'll just sit here and do my crocheting while we're waiting. So let's think about this. Do you remember when you were a child and we're talking about, you know, 30, 40 years ago, for those of us who are a little older, do you remember how you decorated the tree? Do you remember what was on the tree? I just want you to think about that for a minute. I have some memories, but I don't remember everything. So I need to think about, I borrowed this tree. This one is my daughter's tree. So I have a little, like, 36-inch tree. It's in a flower pot. That's my tree. My big, pretty tree is in storage because my house is torn up. So I'm going to be decorating my little old-fashioned tree. All of my ornaments are packed up. Um, the special ornaments that we used when our children were small were Hallmark ornaments. And they're handmade ornaments. So a few years back, we separated them all and gave each one their own ornaments so that they can keep them. We wanted to make sure that the ornaments that belonged to them got to them. So I'm left now with a little bare tree sitting in a tiny pot and thinking I really need to put something on it because here it is. Tomorrow will be the 1st of December. So do think about that for a minute while we're waiting on some to come in to have a little coffee with our lunch. It has been raining for the past 24 hours here. I can't see. So I'm kind of happy to be out of the house. Hey, Danny, I'm just sitting here talking to myself. Yes. Did it storm where you were at too? Yeah, of course it did. You got it before I did. It was awful here. I mean, it sounded like something like hail was falling on the camper because we're sleeping in the camper. And it's pretty close to a pecan tree, and I guess the wind was blowing the pecans off because it was like bam, 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 bam. I mean, half the night and this morning too. So yeah, we had some pretty nasty weather too. Um, so I think I looked at the thermometer. I mean, not the thermometer. Whoops. Oh shoot! Dropped my glasses in the floor. Um, oh, you had hail. Okay, for sure. So maybe it was hail and it wasn't pecans. You know, I'm thinking I got to get down here and get my glasses. Ooh, I hope they're not broke. Okay. Um, yeah, yeah, like what? What were we doing? And at one time, my husband is so crazy. He turns on this little heater and it's in the what you call the living area of the camper, and he points it towards the bedroom, but it hits on my side of the bed. He's got his side of the bed, he's got the window open, and it's just even louder. I guess sometime during the night he closed it, but he's got the window open. So it's like, okay, that kind of defeats the purpose of having the heater on. And it really wasn't that hot. I mean, that cold. I really don't know how cold it was, but I know it wasn't bad at all. But it's like, shut the window. We're gonna get pneumonia. Not really, but it's probably something our grandmothers would say. If you don't shut that window, you're gonna get pneumonia. So I'm trying to make um this beanie. There it is. Um it's just a simple beanie. I got this, I won this in a giveaway, this cake, and I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to make some beanies. Hey, good times with Jen and Steve. How are you this morning? Danny and I were just talking about the awful weather we had. She had it before me, probably a couple of hours before me. I think mine didn't hit until um, about 1, maybe. So she probably had it 10 or 11. Um, yeah, it was pretty rough. And I told her it sounded like we had hail, but I really thought it was the pecans that were falling because the wind was blowing kind of rough. But she said she had um their weather said quarter size hail. Yeah. So yeah. Um oh, but it's freezing. Remind me again, Jen, where you're at. Sometimes I get all these channels confused. I was watching it live and praying for y'all in the path. Yes. Um, we didn't have a tornado warning this time. We had it the last storm, but I think our wind only got up to about 15. So it really wasn't bad. North Arkansas. Okay. Yeah. I used to live in Garland County. Um, my husband's from Hot Springs. And so it seems like North Arkansas always got worse than we did because we kind of lived down in that little valley of the mountains there in Hot Springs. Well, we lived so prayers work. Yeah, we had a tornado watch, but not a warning. Oh, you did? Okay. Hey, Gummy Doolittle. Linda K, you didn't tell me you were starting early. Good morning. Yes, I guess, I've had so many false starts on this thing that it's like I need to start early to make sure if I need a few extra minutes because I really don't like being late. But I would rather be early. And I sat here for a few minutes and talked to myself until Danny come along and talked to me. So yeah, it was kind of wild in our night. And I didn't sleep well at either. Danny probably didn't either. She said, "Well, there might have been, but I don't know. I was asleep." Oh, you were asleep. Well, I couldn't. I mean, it's like I would doze off, and then I would hear this awful noise outside, and I'm thinking, "Oh my gosh, I hope you know the tree doesn't fall on me or something." That's the first thing you think about. And my power did go out at the house even just an hour ago, and there's no wind. I really don't know why it went out. Um, So yeah. But yeah, I got started a little bit early. Jen says our front door used to blow open in the wind until hubby fixed it. Yeah, isn't that crazy? My front door is that way now. Um, it's like, I don't know, the humidity or something, and you go to close it and it won't catch. We haven't got to that room to remodel yet, so I'm really not worried. So I actually have to turn the lock to keep it shut. So if I don't latch the screen door, and I have one of these old-fashioned screen doors, believe it or not. If I don't latch that screen door and then hit the lock, then it does blow open, especially if you go out the back door. We have one of those old houses where the front door and the back door almost exactly, it's kind of like a shotgun house, I guess. Um, but somebody moved the back door. But if it's open, it blows everything in between. Just so yeah. So yeah, I was just sitting here thinking, okay, I was not able to fix that Nightbot thing. Uh, I don't know why, what I need to do. Heather's chubby hubby told me last week I needed to do something, but I couldn't figure it out. So I may have to get on the phone with him and help me. He might have to walk me through it. Danny says, I thought a pipe had busted. Nope, just my front door opened during the severe thunderstorm. And it just kind of banged, didn't it? Yeah, definitely. I only have one message and it says to hit the thumbs up. Do I need to add him as a moderator? Is that what I needed to do? Okay, maybe that's what he was trying to tell me. Shoot, I might have figured it out. So yeah. And you see, I'm wearing a coat. This coat belonged to my mother, and we lost her December the 5th. So I don't know. I've got some things that belong to her, and I just kind of wear them, during the month of December. So, it's kind of just, it's all snuggly and, kind of feels like she's hugging me, and I don't know, crazy. It's kind of, you know, what we do to comfort ourselves, right? So, but anyway, um, my idea, yeah, for y'all have, yeah, I think everybody in here knows that the house is torn up. We're still working on it. I have no tree other than a little fake tree in a flower pot. Oh, thank you. That was in 2008. And you know what they say, that you never get over it, you just learn to live with it. And I still catch myself thinking, oh man, mom she wanted to know that when we're doing the genealogy, she really wanted to know who her real father was. And her mother refused to tell her all her life. And she was 73 when she passed. She never knew who her real father was. My sister and I, Gummy, we found out through DNA who her real father was, but we didn't do that until last year, well, the early this year. So it took us, a long time to find out after she was even gone. But we keep thinking, man, she'd be proud of us because we figured it out. We really figured it out. Jen says my grandfather passed away a couple of weeks ago. Oh, I'm so sorry. And I have lots of their Christmas decorations. He was 92. Oh my goodness. That is such a treasure. And when we were growing up, we really were poor and we really didn't know it. We absolutely had no idea that we were poor. I mean, we lived with what we had. We ate what my mother could grow, or what my brothers could hunt, and uh, you know, fish, whatever. I mean, we just got by. But I don't remember a lot. Now, Gummy may remember more about the Christmas tree than me because she's 2 years older than me. But being poor is not knowing is the best. That's it. Because we didn't act like or well, how do you say it? You know, I guess if we didn't do the pity party, poor me, I can't do this. And I mean, we didn't have any money, but we didn't really worry about it. We got what we needed and we grew what we needed. We had lots of love from our mother, and she was raising 5 children. We had lost one brother back in the 50s, and this was in 65. So she was raising us 5 kids that were still in the household, um, on a shoestring, whatever she could get, whatever she could work. She didn't even know how to drive. Hello, Nona Grace. How are you? Glad to see you. Um, so we worked hard, we were content. You know, whatever we did everything. We helped our mother with the gardening, with the canning, with um yes, Nona Grace, I had just said that. We grew up poor and we did not know. We had no idea. But there's a couple of things I remember about Christmases that some of y'all may remember is um there was one thing that I always remember we had, and that was our stocking was basically socks, big socks. We didn't have any of those fancy things. Danny says, I personally think how you were raised is awesome, and if it makes you feel better, I got rid of my Christmas tree a few years ago, and now I just put up my village, and it's just beautiful. Oh, that is so nice. We hung up real socks. Yes, us too. And but I remember um we always had, and we were happy to have what was in those socks, honestly. We had always an orange and an apple and a handful of loose nuts. um they probably got the nuts at the hardware store. um it was the ones that some of those nuts that nobody wants to eat, the hickory nuts, the hazelnuts, the almonds, they're still in the shell, the walnuts, the pecans. Those are, I mean, you hardly find those loose nuts anymore. And I don't remember having bananas, but I do remember the oranges and the apples. And when we went to our grandma Pope's, my dad's mother, she was still living, and she always had little goodies for us, but I don't remember what those little goodies were. I mean, it's like I just I just don't remember. Yeah, my kids love getting fruit and nuts even now. Yeah, I mean, and go to the grocery store and you hardly ever see um you hardly ever see, it says my little girl loves cracking hickory nuts. She's crazy. Yeah, I like cracking nuts, and I always loved those little hazelnuts. And no and nobody wanted to crack the almonds because they had that crusty little hull on them. And they would rather have the pecans. And it was a big thing is let's crack them and see how big the nut comes out. It was like a special thing if we could crack them and they actually came out whole. So yeah, we had to create our own entertainment. What do you know? Nona Grace said, I never had the opportunity to spend time with my grandparents. Mine were all gone before I was born. We only had two grandmothers ourselves. Um, let's see. Well, here in Arkansas, they sell nuts and shells, and we have hickory and walnut trees. Yeah, so win-win for you. Um, we could cook chestnuts too. Yeah, is chestnuts what they cooked on the fireplace? You roasted them? Yeah. Gummy Doolittle, what did you say? This tradition was started with our grandmother Opie Pope. Yes, she would give us a brown or white lunch bag with a pair of socks, fresh fruit, hard candy, and nuts. Now, I do remember getting a pair of socks every year from her. I do remember that. And we were happy to get a pair of warm socks. It was cold in Oklahoma. We were really happy. Jen says, yes, I grew up with walnut trees, and it was a game my brothers and I played too to see who could get out the best. Yeah, I just thought I dreamed that up, but I remember now us doing that, and I mean it was a big deal. It's like, we got the best one. If you tore it up getting it out, you had to eat it right away. And then you had to go for another one and try it again. But I think I remember us having garland on the tree. This was later, I think, and it was made out of cranberries. We strung them and strung popcorn. We made the paper garland, the ones with the little things that you just kind of just make the whole little chain out of it. Um, Nona Grace, see, I learned how to get the Brazil nuts out whole by boiling them first, and they would come out in one piece. Really? Oh, the Brazil nuts. That was that real dark one that nobody could get it broken out. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Now I like to eat those Brazil nuts. I can't say it. I do like to eat them. They have a really good taste, but I never thought of boiling them. Huh? Have to try that. But I do. It seems like we had some type of cookie in ours too. Um. Oh yeah, is your Donna's your she has crazy stuff going on. She'll write something out and it does autocorrect, and sometimes it comes out just really ugly. It's like I didn't spell that or I didn't say that. That these phones, they change it. Whatever they want to do, they'll change it. Yes, popcorn. You remember the popcorn chains too? So I don't know, and we may have done acorns also. Um, I got a ton of acorn trees. I could make some garland with acorns, but I don't know about the food. I hear the goats out there going crazy. Um, hey Nicole, how are you? How's it in Canada? Cold? I think, let's see, let me look. Oh, mine says temperatures plummet, but that it's not that cold. I don't know what the weather thing is doing on mine. Um, my temperature is probably about the same as Danny's because we're not that far. 27. Okay, that's a little chilly. I have my coat on, but I have the doors open. The dogs are running in and out. I'm doing laundry, but I wanted to put the tree in the background, and because I really wanted to talk about, what am I going to put on my little, I don't know if it's even 36 inches tall. It might be 30. It's pretty short, but it's in this one of these big flower. It kind of looks like an urn, like those concrete urns. That's what it looks like it's in. And it had lights on it, but the lights don't work anymore. 54. Okay, that's probably about that here. And the rain finally quit for us, and I'm sure it quit for Danny too. It doesn't look like we're going to get any more rain until maybe next Monday. uh Donna says our brothers would go out in the woods and cut down a tree for Mama every year. And see, she remembers that, but I don't remember that. I remember us having the tree in the house, but I don't remember it ever getting it. I don't remember the actual cutting it down. Of course, the two older brothers uh, that were in the house, um, I guess when I was 10, were like teenagers, and one was probably 18, and one was 16. 15, something like that. So yeah, I don't remember that. And they were allowed to use the hatchet and the guns, and they were allowed those things. Um, when we weren't, we were and then there was two babies below me. So the two boys below me, they were one of them was maybe 3 or 5 years old. So they were pretty small. Yeah, Jack and Gerald started the tree giving, and then later Ricky and Jerry would continue the tradition. That's the two youngest brothers, Ricky and Jerry. Um, and so, yeah, this year, um, we lost Jack this year. So, and we have a half sister in Texas, and she's 82. She'll be 83 in March. And she doesn't travel anymore. Um, she's a retired barrel horse racer. And believe me, she retired at 75. She was still running the barrels at 75. And she raised and trained paint horses. She still has three of her horses. And I think they're like 35, 38, 40 years old. I mean, so her horses retired when she did. But yes, it's pretty cool. Hey, Adventures in Michigan with Lisa. How are you? How's the weather in Michigan? So far, Nicole has us on the weather at 27. So 37 in Arkansas, 54 in Alabama, and I gotta say Georgia's probably 50 also, probably 54. Um, okay, so I did something right. I finally fixed Nightbot. Hey, that's good. Um, Today is super windy, really. Did y'all have any of the bad storm that came through Alabama and I'm in Georgia, and then it kind of just went out. I don't know if it got up that far, but it was a pretty long line of thunderstorms. But it was loud. Oh my gosh, it was so loud. And I'm surprised that we didn't lose the power last night. Of course, we may have, and I just didn't realize it in between catnapping, because every time I would get to sleep, I would just hear this bang. And yeah. Donna says after we moved to California, mom would go by this skimpy. Oh, she would go by the skimpy, ugliest tree that looked like a Charlie Brown tree. She would put mini boxes of icicles and make it beautiful. Oh, that's what I loved, was those little aluminum looking icicles. Does anybody sell those anymore? I have not seen them anywhere. I would love to know who sells them, because I think I would like that on my little baby tree. It may be 2 foot tall, but it's going to have some old fashioned ornaments on it. I mean, I would put gingerbread cookies on it, but then the birds would, well, it'd be okay because it's sitting on my front porch. It's not even in the house. The birds will get them. Oh, Donna, you think the dollar stores, Family Dollar and places like that might have them? Yeah, I need some icicles. I just have not seen them. But I used to love doing it because we just take one icicle at a time and just string. Really bored. The boys would get really bored, and they would just grab a handful and throw it at the tree. It sounds like boys, right? But and we would do all the little draping on each one of the little limbs and make it just look so pretty. But the icicles really made it. I think that was before we even put lights on our trees. I don't think we did lights. I'm not sure when lights came into effect. But like I said, we were poor and we didn't worry about lights. At night, we didn't worry about it coming on. Oh, Donna said you saw them at the dollar store? Okay. So I guess I'll have to go to the dollar store, as bad as I hate to shop. Oh my gosh. Have y'all started your Christmas shopping? Y'all won't be surprised. Normally I do mine Christmas Eve. I do. And it's just like my husband will say, well, we need to go, and we just buy for the grandkids, and pretty much. And um he said, we need to go shopping. And I said, well, pick the day, and I guess we'll have to go. And I just don't like to shop. I don't know what it is. Some years we just give a nice card with money in it for the grandkids. And now we have They're getting so much older. Nona, you said we had tinsel on the tree. You hand it one strip at a time. Yes, you hung it one strip at a time, and I'm giving crochet things and gift cards this year. Oh, yeah, see? I'm making this hat for someone. We shall not name him, but I'm making this hat. Um, I thought about wearing it, but it's really pretty. This is the prettiest yarn. I won this in a giveaway, and I really I see all these channels and they have this tons of yarn behind them. They have so much yarn, it looks like a really pretty picture that the yarn never changes. It's like it's not really their working yarn, it's just a picture. And mine is, I think I have 4 or 5 balls of yarn, and that's it. And this one is the one that I'm making the hat. Um, and it's just gonna be basic, just to keep your head warm, and you'll be happy. I like to wear stuff over my ears because my hair is so short. This is not crocheted. This is just a piece of, you buy it at Walmart. It comes in a little roll. Hey, Al, how are you? So glad you came. Nicole is saying how cold it is up there. I kind of I kind of wish we'd get like snow, but we've had flurries of snow maybe twice in 7 years. That's it. Yes, I'm good. We had a really nasty storm last night. Um, Danny had it first. Now she's the only one that I talk to very often, because she lives, I mean, almost perpendicular to each other, vertical. You could go down I-20 and probably get to both of us. So whatever storms hits her usually hits me too. 27, yeah. That's going to be the high temp. Wow. Lisa says it could be a green screen background the person is using with the yarn. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking sometimes just like I want to watch that again because that last video they did, it was exactly the same. So they must not use that yarn. And so, but I'm so excited. I'll have to post it when it comes, but I won some yarn yesterday. Um, and it is alpaca. And I've been seeing this, it's knit crate alpaca for y'all who crochet, and it can be like $30 to $50 for these big hanks of the alpaca blend. Even one of them is like a 80% alpaca, so that it's pretty good. But I won four big hanks of it, and I'm so excited because I have alpaca. I actually have alpaca fiber, but I haven't been able to find one of those little mini spinners. I just can't buy an $800 spinner, but I have a lot of alpaca that I need to actually make the yarn. And I've been teaching myself to make the yarn. I even made my own spindle to do it the old fashioned way. Because when you didn't have money to spend $800 on a spinner, I can't believe those things are so expensive. I don't know anybody who could make me one that would be a better bargain than that. But so I have lots of alpaca fiber from mine. Um, I have 10, maybe 12 bags and a couple of bags of wool from my sheep. So I have that. I just don't have the means to get the spinner. Um, it's called an e-spinner, uh, spinner or something. It's just a little it sits on the table. So it's really kind of cool. And they run around, I don't know, 125 or something like that. But I can't find one. I don't know if they order them a year in advance and they just don't make them. It's a small company that makes them. And so I just haven't been able to find one. So, but it would make my life a whole lot simpler if I had that little device to help me spin some of the yarn a lot quicker. Because 10 bags of yarn, and we're not talking about Walmart bags, we're talking about garbage bags. the big clear garbage bags are full. So I have 10 bags of those, mostly fawn and off-white, browns and blacks. So that's mostly what color they are. Let's see. Lisa says, awesome hobby crocheting. I never learned though. Oh, you didn't? Might be a good winter thing to try. I learned from my grandmother and later learned more from my mother. But my grandmother actually taught me by sitting knee to knee. I'm left-handed, she was right-handed. So she set me in front of her and she showed me the basics, chain. And I probably only knew that there was one stitch. I probably only knew single crochet for years. That's probably the only thing I even knew. And I did. And I think Donna's going to actually, Gummy Doolittle, she's going to do a video on some of the handmade things. Believe it or not, she's got one of my first blankets that I made back when I was 18 years old. She still has it. And I guess she still uses it. Um, but knitting, I have not tried knitting, but I would love to try knitting. I just don't have any of the needles or anything. Hey, Vandal the Land, good morning. How are you? What's the weather like with you? We've all been talking about what kind of weather. We've been talking about old-fashioned Christmas ornaments. I'm trying to find some ideas, kind of jog my memory of some things that we can put on our 2-foot tree. It's in a flower pot type thing, no lights. It's just, I need to put something simple on it. It's sitting on my front porch. There's no place in my house for it because it's all tore up. And when you live kind of in the middle of reconstructing the house, it's not always good. Um, so I've got to definitely find some ideas that I can put on that little tree because I really need to. You know, when we lost our mother at Christmas, it was really difficult for us. And we kind of don't go all out like we used to. I don't know why, but we shouldn't be that way because she really loved Christmas. Um, oh, Donna says yes, it's on her bed. Yeah, and she's going to show you that. She's going to do a video and show you that. I made it when I was 18 years old. It was one of the first, I think it was what we called it a ripple stitch, and now they call it chevron, but it was a ripple stitch. Hey, Jamie's Country Living, nice to see you too. I'm so glad you all came today. I know everybody's probably last week was so hectic, and my husband's like, don't give me any more leftovers. No more. And so, you know what I told him? Well, there's peanut butter and jelly. And he said he'd rather have that. So I had to quit doing leftovers. I got the turkey broth. I boiled the turkey carcass for a couple of days. Well, I simmered it in the crock pot for a couple of days. I got like 3 quarts of really good broth, so I can use that later. No more leftovers. No. Lisa says my great grandma used to make these hats that were 4 foot long, hat on your head, and it reminded me around year round neck to use for a scarf. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Um, Gummy says I went to the dollar store and bought garland, 2 bead strings, 2 rolls of wire ribbon for less than $8. So that's what you put on your tree. This tree back here behind me is borrowed. It's not mine. I could say I stole it, but I went to her house, so I didn't really take it out of her house. But I did borrow it. And it doesn't have, I mean, it's not like, so extravagant. You really can't see how pretty it is from where we're at. But I may have to take a picture of it and use it as a thumbnail or something. Uh, uh, a small tree out front on the front porch. Yeah, she's doing a small tree on their front porch. But she also has a little locked gate around their little front. They made a little patio so that the little one could play and they could sit out there and watch and not have to worry about him running. And So yeah, they're gonna put a little tree out there. But I mean, I've got a 6-foot tree that has the fiber optic lights, and I mean it's beautiful. I got it one year when it was an after Christmas sale, and I think we paid like $30 for it. And it was a $400 tree. And I would never pay that for a tree, honestly. I won't even buy a fresh one because I'm not gonna pay 85, $90 for one. I just won't do that. I could use that $90 for something else. Hey, Hillbilly Creativity. Good to see you. So nice. But we had such a storm last night. I think my um, rain gauge said 3 inches. So I mean, it rained really hard, and it didn't even start until 1 o'clock here. Kind of a little bit at 12, just a little drizzles, but the really hard stuff came a couple of hours later. So yeah, I made sure that I was already back over in the camper since we work in the house and then we sleep in the camper. So, but it's comfortable, except when you're hearing all this wind and things falling on you, you kind of worry a little bit. See, once in a while, the thrift stores have bags of yarn and tools to crochet. I've seen some of the crochet yarn before we have a Salvation Army. We don't have, any of the others, but it was not something, it was dirty, and I thought, no, I couldn't. And it was rough. I don't know what it was, and I thought I could never wear a hat like that. And I was looking for something to make pot holders out of, so I was really looking for cotton. But if I'd have found something really nice and clean, I would have bought it. But I never get those good deals at the yard sales where they'll sell a bag of yarn for $5. I never get those. uh, I used to go to yard sales. I like going, but you just never know what you're going to find. Now, my husband's grandmother, Grandma Susie, she was the type, if she stopped, got out of the car, walked up to your yard sale, she spoke to you, and she would never walk away without buying something from your yard sale. And you know what she would buy? She would take a dime out and she would buy a plastic lid or a plastic bowl, something. But she would never go up to somebody's yard sale and look around and walk away. She just thought it was rude. And it really was. I'm thinking that was really nice because she would buy a little something just because they worked really hard to get that yard sale together. And I mean, she was 79 years old when we lost her many years ago. And I just remember that little thing about her walking up to somebody's yard sale and buying a plastic lid, you know. Oh, I'm glad you came, Al. Thank you so much for stopping. I try to catch, sometimes y'all have long live streams, and sometimes they're later than I can stay up. I find myself nodding off. Um, and especially if we're playing nice soothing music or something. Some of them are like that, but I'm glad you came. So glad you came. Um, but yeah, so I'm going to work on getting my little tree decorated. Um, and I just maybe I'll gather up all my things and do a live because on my craft channel, Little Wendy's Daydreaming, I was looking the other day and I didn't realize I have never done a short. I've never done a live on that channel. Um, I think I've got 419 subs. And oh, and congratulations, Danny. She got 700 subs. Oh, I'm glad. Yeah. Um, so I'm thinking I need to gather up all I'm going to do with my little tree and do a little live, um, and try to show everybody what I found. But yeah, Lisa says, uh, won't those rough yarn make those square dish rags to wash dishes? Yes, yes, you could. I still like cotton though. For some reason, I don't like the feel of those. real rough, scratchy ones. I don't know, maybe they hang up my hands are not real smooth because I work outside a lot, but I don't know, they make my hands feel funny. So cotton is really what I like as far as dish rags and things for the kitchen and the bath. But what's the name of your other channel? Oh, it's Little Wendy's Daydreaming. Uh, if Danny is still in here, she can drop the link for me. Um, but that's where I do my crafts. I do all kinds of crafts. I'll try anything once. I'm going to be making, yeah, I'm going to be making um, bath bombs. I got all the stuff and I'm going to be making bath bombs. That's another one that I'm going to make with the grandkids. They wanted to help. So I got all of my stuff together and so yes, I'll be making bath bombs on that channel. But if I will post my my link, but it's just Linda Little Wendy apostrophe S Daydreaming. Good morning, Papa's Kitchen. So good to see you. Thank you so much for all the help you do with us guys. I mean, he is just so um generous with his time helping us out. So good. So yeah, so other than um garland made out of cranberries, popcorn, acorns, um if my goats got a hold of my Christmas tree, they would eat all the acorns off of it. They'd eat everything. They'd eat the popcorn, they would eat, you know, if I had cookies on it, but I'm not going to put cookies on it because it's on the front porch and I would have like 50 birds eating the cookies. But I know we did cookies and they may have been gingerbread cookies or something. Um They may not have been shaped like a gingerbread man, but I believe they were gingerbread cookies because they were brown or molasses cookies or something like that. Ooh, that sounds good. Molasses cookies. So, um, and Gummy Doolittle, she has challenged me. I told her she should challenge anyone who wants to do it to use one of your recipes, your favorite recipes from either your mom or your dad or grandparents, a recipe that's been passed along, maybe, even if it's simple, that we should. So she challenged me to use a recipe, one of my favorites, to make a meal. So now I've got to figure out what I want to do because the one that I wanted to do, she's doing. So I've got to add something to it or do something different. But so we'll be putting our videos up, but anybody who wants to do that, please um, make a video of one of your favorite recipes that's been passed down. We are lucky enough to have many recipes that we located in our mother's handwriting. And I remember asking her to write down recipes before because, back then, where the recipe was at? In the noggin. Oh, yes. Donna is doing Mama's chocolate gravy. And but I think I got one on over her. Yeah. We're gonna see who can I might could make chocolate gravy, but I might could add a spin to that. But she has several recipes that she wrote down from recipes from home. Yes. I mean, I just think that's a fun thing to do. Because there's a lot of recipes out there. They may not be written down. I mean, even today, there's cooks that I've watched, and it's like they say, well, you put about this and about that, and a pinch of this and a pinch of that, and that's the way my mother used to cook. She made bread every day, either bread or biscuits. She made it every day, and you could ask her the recipe, and she would say, "Oh, I just use this and that," and So it took a long time for her to write down some recipes, and she did. So we do have a few of those. Jen says, I love chocolate gravy. Grew up with it in waffles from my mom in California and moved to Arkansas, and they call it chocolate gravy. Oh, really? Isn't that funny? It's regionally called different things, and it's the same thing. Add a coffee twist to the chocolate gravy. Yum, Lisa. That sounds really good. I told her that if I did chocolate gravy too, I was making homemade biscuits. Oh, you don't make biscuits, do you, Gummy? So when I would go to California, she's just like, "Are you making a pan of biscuits this morning?" So, you know, Mom always said this recipe was our favorite as little kids. I have never made this, so we hope it's delicious. She always made it for the grandkids. I am using waffles with it. See, she's using waffles. No, she does not make homemade biscuits. Okay. But maybe we thought the chocolate gravy, it was such a treat that we just thought it was, it was like candy to us. Radical Changes, good morning. How are you? Yes. Oh, thank you, Nona Grace. I appreciate you doing that. I could have, uh, but my keyboard is awkward. It's in a different. It's a little different. Yep, it was your favorite. Okay, so now I did find a recipe that was in a book, and it was called the JC's Cookbook, and that thing was a thick. I mean, it was at least a thick, and it was in those old-fashioned, pages where those little spirals went through the pages, it was real easy to turn, but they were plastic spirals. This book belonged to my mother's mother, and in that book, I believe is potato candy. Have y'all ever heard of that? Potato candy. So I may have to dig that out of a box. I've already packed it up from the kitchen stuff, but I may have to dig out that cookbook and see if I can find that recipe. My grandmother was a short order cook in a truck stop, and she never used a recipe. After the first time, she would look at it and hey, Teresa, good morning or good afternoon. Yes, potato candy. Teresa knows about potato candy too. Yes. Let's see. The recipe is very old and made in many countries. Oh, oh, you researched it. Okay. Um, oh, Papa says it's in his list to make. Ooh, it sounds good, y'all. Potato candy. You've never heard of it, Jen? I don't know. It's probably one of those poor man's dishes too, where you always had potatoes growing up, and I didn't call them potatoes. Donna calls them potatoes, and I call them taters because I'm in the South. Um, so yeah, potato candy, and it's made from mashed potatoes. So yeah, I need to find me a good recipe. So anybody who came in that wants to do this with us, we didn't call anybody particular out, but I was just wanting to, if you would like to, we can. Where was that? Memory. What was that? She said it was. Let me go back up here and read the words that um recipes from home. What was that? We'll hashtag it something like that, like recipes. Um, you see, you never can find something when you're looking for it. Um, hashtag. What's the hashtag? Oh, yes. Recipe. Okay, hashtag recipes from home. Let's use that one if Jen let us use that one. Um, because I mean, basically it is. It's recipes from your home that you grew up in. Um, but I think that would be kind of interesting to see all of these recipes that I have forgotten about. And honestly, we probably didn't know the name of them. We just ate them. Divinity. That I mean, that's one that there's still lots of people that make divinity, but divinity is a very old recipe. Um, I mean, it's been around a long time and it takes very little to actually make it, but it is so good. Oh my gosh, I'm starting to get hungry thinking that I didn't eat breakfast. Hey, strong woman, did I say hi to you? I didn't mean to miss you. Um, will you be my grandma? Yeah. I got 6 grandkids. So, yeah, one more is great. Um, See, there are already lots of videos with that hashtag. Oh, darn. Well, we're going to have to think of another hashtag. Um, I'm gonna have to do some researching. Hey, Drunken Shelf Barbecue, good morning or good afternoon to you. Um, but yeah, we'll have to find a hashtag that's easy. Old family recipes. That one sounds good too. That explains exactly what we need. Hashtag old family recipes. Yeah, so anybody who wants to do that, let's do that. It's I mean, it won't be a big, 40 channel, I'm sure. Because some of them are huge, like 100 channels. But just, old family recipes are, I mean, you don't think about making them all year round, but a lot of them are made during the holidays. Hey, Carlene Vassar, how are you? My grandmother used to make potato candy. Yes, yes, we were just talking about that potato candy. And yeah, it's amazing that some have not heard it, but they may have grown up in different circumstances. Lisa says recipes from the archives, recipes from the archives. Uh, yes, thank you, Jamie's Country Living. Hit that thumb, please. Oh, every little bit helps. I started my channel 2 years ago in December. Well, it was in December. And of course, the first year they took all of my watch hours away. I still got to keep the subs, but they took all of the watch hours away. So this year I started all over again. I'm still way away, but I almost got 700 subs. But mine are, I don't get mine from giveaways and little things like that where it brings in a lot of people, but they don't really stay. So yeah, strong woman says, laughing out loud, grandma was complaining about YouTube. Yeah. Um, Papa, let us know what you're gonna cook. Oh, now you go over there, Gummy Doodle. You go over to Papa's kitchen. I'll send you the link. He can put this. It's just hash. I mean, it's at the at sign in Papa's kitchen. I'm pretty sure. It's easy to get to now that YouTube has changed that. Um, but I'm telling you, he can cook, and cooking on that old potbelly, it's not really a potbelly stove, it's the old kitchen stove. Oh, I love watching him cook on that stove. Um, I'll make orange sliced cake. Oh my goodness, that sounds good. Yes, go over to his channel. I just watched one yesterday, the Noodle November, and was it Noodle November? And But yeah, I love that stove. If I had room in my kitchen for a stove like that, I would hunt down a stove like that, um, to put it in the farmhouse kitchen. But they want a lot of money for those. The vintage ones. I mean, you can get some that look like vintage ones and they're expensive, but the vintage ones themselves are just outrageous. Orange slice cake is a winner. Yes, Carlene, I think you're right there. Um, You're too young to be my grandma, I think. No, really? I don't know how old you are, but I'm 66. But I mean, 6 grandkids. My oldest one's 18. So yeah, I'm old enough to be somebody's grandma. A lot of those recipes from the depression are awesome. Yes, there was a little lady that had a channel. I just loved her. Can't remember her name, but the depression was in the title. Really? I wonder who that was. If she's still on YouTube. Sometimes I'm going to have to start keeping a list. Yep, I'm too young. Well, it's nice to be too young for something, huh? Um, because my old bones are telling me that I'm too old for some things. I'm definitely too old picking up hay bales because I strained my back this week, and I since Thanksgiving I've been dying. But and now picking up pecans. Thank goodness I have that roller to help me pick them up, but it's still a lot of work when your back's bothering you. But yeah, so I'll get that started and get it set up and start figuring out what I'm going to cook. And you can cook more than one thing. You need some medical marijuana. Yeah. um, I don't. I used to live in California. Back then in the '70s, it wasn't. It was passed around, but I don't think they used it for medical back then. Oh, she has. Um, yeah. But if her channel is still up, then we can still go watch her channel because someone in her family may be running it or maintaining it or something. Um, Carlene says, "I'll gladly be someone's grandma. I'm 72." Oh, she needs that in some of the brownies. Are you talking about me? In Yeah, I've never been old ways. Hey, Teresa would love to do some videos. Oh yeah. I'm sure you have some great ones too, Teresa. Teresa's got a great channel. For y'all have not been over to see her channel, Always Gardening and Prepping. It's a great channel. Um, Absolutely. I love the stories. And she's not she doesn't script things like you can go on some channels and they're so scripted and set up and it's like a big movie, and I don't do that either. What happens happens. If I don't have makeup on that day, I'm sorry guys, if my hair's not combed, you know I don't worry about it. you know I just like being me, and I started this when the pandemic was, in full force, and when we could get no more visitors on the farm, because we did a lot with fundraising with the nonprofit. But these days, people don't have the money to help with nonprofits anymore. So you just, you do what you have to do, and but I started it for that because I wasn't seeing anyone. You know, if you couldn't talk to them on YouTube or on the telephone, you didn't really have any interaction with a lot of folks unless you had to go to the doctor and then you put a mask on and nobody really knew you anyway. I learned to read people's eyes though. Did y'all do that too? I learned to read their eyes. I could tell when they were smiling and being friendly just by their eyes. So it kind of taught you a little bit of something. When you go, don't take for granted. You never put on a mask, strong woman? I did only when I went to the doctor, or I went to the pharmacy at Walmart. Those people were there because they were sick. So, and I had to be careful because um, my husband has chronic leukemia. So I didn't want to bring anything home. I did it for us. I didn't do it for them. And we also had someone living on the farm that had a kidney transplant. And so I didn't want to bring anything home. So yes, I did. And I got my shots, but it was all a preference. Let's say Papa says Great Depression cooking is a 90-year-old lady. Really? Great Depression cooking. Okay, y'all write that down. Go take a look at her. I bet you there's some interesting cooking. I sure, yes. Yes, with Clara. Okay. Great Depression cooking with Clara. Yes, I want to go look at that because you might, it might jog my memory on other recipes, that we used, but maybe we didn't know what they were called. But, we grew up on our own garden. We grew up hunting and fishing. We even ate turtle. I remember we eating turtle, soft shell turtle. Um, so yeah, if we couldn't hunt it, fish it, grow it, we didn't eat. And my mother makes bread every day. She made her own jellies. I mean, really, what a lot of the homestead and prepping do now. Putting their pantries back together, eating out of their pantry for a week if they had to, or a month, or living off grid. If you want to live off grid, go camping. That'll teach you, you know, to eat differently, appreciate it. Fried rattlesnake? Whoa. Believe it or not, back maybe 30 years ago, my husband was working at a nuclear plant here in Georgia. And I remember going to some kind of gathering that we used to have. That used to be our only friends of the people he worked with because I was a stay at home mom. Um, and they had fried gator and fried rattlesnake. I don't know if I tried the rattlesnake, but I did try the gator. Lisa says her grandson videotaped her movie up to the day she passed. It was nice to hear her stories. Oh, yeah. I mean, look at the 91 years of living and look at all that she lived through, experienced, the recipes she made, what she saw in her lifetime. I think it's amazing. I love history. If there was I mean, I could just do history. I like all kinds of history and especially the old ways. I love hearing about them. My family were Indian, and I really didn't know a lot about the old ways. What they used for medicines and food, and um, you know, I know they lived hard. History was your major, really? Yeah. And it may not have been as interesting when I was growing up, but as an adult, especially after I started researching genealogy and our own history and walking in the same path that our family walked. Once I started doing that, and it's like the bug hit me. It's like sometimes I set hours, and I'm working on some genealogy stuff now. Sometimes I would just set hours in a day and work on things. I would find more people and find more locations where they were buried. And I mean, it's like it was fascinating. I loved it. Teresa says it's not as hard to live off grid as you think. Too many are addicted to electricity. Yes. Um, uh, I had somebody the other day, and they thought it was just really weird that I've not had heat and air in my farmhouse for a year. Um, Yes, we've lived so much history. Yes. Um, Gummy says when Grandma Pope had family over for special meal, her table was full of all foods. Our mother said, "Don't eat that fried meat or the pot of stew because it was fried rattlesnake or possum stew." Yes, because one time she ate the fried possum, thinking it was chicken, and she thought it was delicious. But later she real the somebody spoiled it and told her what it was, and now it was in her trash after she found out she ate the fried possum. But you know, I mean, this was back in probably the early 50s, and times were tough. Times were tough. So, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot that I remember about not having electricity or not having we didn't honestly, I don't remember the year, but we didn't have a TV growing up. I remember there's a radio, and I think we were probably I may have been 9, 10. It was probably after my dad passed away, and I was 8. So it was maybe I saw a TV, 10, 11 years old. Um, so we didn't have those things. Um, Besides not owning one, we probably couldn't afford the electricity to run it. We lived the way we had to live. I mean, and she didn't complain. She just took care of what needed to be taken care of. We always had food on the table. When there were wild things like grapes and persimmons and plums and apples and um, if it could be eaten, we ate it. We definitely ate it. So yeah. So when I put my little family country Christmas tree together, kind of bring up memories of it. So well, gosh, guys, is it getting late? I try to schedule myself an hour. Sometimes I run over, and I try not to, because I know this y'all got things to do. Um, Now there's a fly after me, but I just kind of I don't know. I'm trying to get myself psyched up because, like I said, the 5th was the day we lost our mother. Um, and we did take her back. 6 months later, we took her back to Oklahoma to be laid beside my dad and my little brother. Oh, older brother. He was an older brother. Um, Papa's Kitchen says, oh, going to let's see, I missed one. He says that it was a big box TV, black and white. We were in our teens. I knew that it was older, that I didn't even have a record. We had a record player when I was 13, and we got our first record. And I didn't like mine, and she didn't like hers, so we traded. Um, Papa's, you said we had a TV for some time, but it was black and white with the rabbit ears. Yes. Did it have aluminum foil on it? I think ours had aluminum foil on it. Um, you're talking business with the other half. That's okay. That's all right. Yeah, aluminum foil. And if it didn't, oh, and you had to get up to turn the little knob to change the channel. The kids these days would not know what to do. But you just had that little dial, and it click click click, and then you had to wait to see if it was just right, and then you had to move the rabbit ears before you could go sit down. I mean, it was a big deal to change a channel. There was no channel surfing, right? No channel surfing. I'm dating myself here. Maybe 4 channels if we were lucky. It was 4 channels. Um, I don't have cable in my farmhouse either. So I don't watch a lot of TV. If I want to watch a movie, I have to watch it on my phone or the computer. Um, Good old days, yes. um, and right now we have like an antenna that he is strung out on the outside of the house because the house has a tin roof. So we get very bad reception because of that tin roof. And now I think we have 3 channels. We have one local channel, and we have like Me TV and some kind of mystery one. That was all the channels we have. So if it's not on those channels, I don't watch it. And usually I'll see the news and then I'll take it off the news because honestly, the news is, even the local news sometimes is depressing. Um, Let's see. Lisa says, I remember my grandpa watching the ball game on black and white tinfoil squares at the end of the antenna to get the better picture. Yes, that's exactly. At late night, little Indian would appear. Oh yeah, the one with the headdress, and it would be in the center of all the little geometrical shapes or whatever that was. I remember. Um, the Indian chief. Yes. I remember putting the aluminum foil on the rabbit ears. You know what? You probably get better TV with rabbit ears these days because you don't get a lot of that junk. Who needs 400 channels? I mean, really. I mean, you know, I know if you're shut in and you don't have anything else to do, and I think that's where YouTube comes in a lot. These people connect with us because they can't get out or they get out very little. Even though I get out very little, um, I connect to some of these people that are, they're either, incapacitated in wheelchairs um, or just not able to go anywhere. They don't have vehicles to take them anywhere or anybody to take them anywhere. Um, let's see. Teresa says graduated to a better antenna. Yeah, when you upgraded, it was a better antenna. It wasn't a new TV. It was a better antenna until the what was it? The picture tube. When the picture tube blew, we knew we had to either get another TV or just do without. See, a beauty rim in a tree using a copper wire. Yeah, that's Papa says my grandparents had a box on top of the TV. It would click and rotate the outside antenna. Really? Now that's uptown. Hey, Kathy, Living Miracle Homestead. How are you today? I thought you'd be working. I always miss you on Wednesday. So yeah, we're talking about the old days of the great TVs and the old fashioned cooking. Now, Kathy, you can join us too. Anybody who wants to use an old family recipe. Donna started it, and you are working. Okay, she started it, but she's going to make one of the recipes that was our mother's. And there's several really good ideas that folks here are going to make an old-fashioned recipe from home. Um, we'll figure out a hashtag. But I'm excited about it because I love some of these recipes that are just, a pinch, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and putting it in the palm of your hand. There's a measurement for the palm of your hand, and I don't know it off right hand, but what how far it means, a teaspoon of this or whatever. But that's the way my mother did. She would just either pinch it or put it in the palm of her hand and then throw it in. So we didn't have those fancy tools like a measuring spoon. Lisa says you can't watch all those channels. I don't pay for cable. No, you cannot watch even 200 channels. I barely watch the 4 channels I have, and sometimes it's only 3 because the antenna doesn't get the last one very good. Um, so I don't even watch all of those. And honestly, I don't have a radio in my house. I don't have a radio in the car. When I go to town, and I say go to town, it goes when I go to Augusta, it's like a 45-minute drive. Um, I've got somebody's lives on or catching up with their watching their channel, and I'm usually running that while I'm driving and listening. Um, I can't tell you when I had the radio on, and I like music, but my radio speakers are out in my car, and I'm not going to get them fixed. So yeah. Um, Papa says, remember going to the 7-Eleven and buying a picture tube. Yeah. It sounds like fun, doesn't it, Kathy? You hardly ever measure too? Well, you measure, you just have your own system of measurements. Somebody had to put those down on paper and make us go by them. And honestly, when you see someone measuring on a recipe, they'll say about a cup, and they don't take a knife and scrape it all, even. A lot of times it's heaping up, and they'll say, oh, about a cup or a little more, I mean. So they measure, but they don't. So made a video on hand measuring. Oh, you did, Teresa? I'll have to go look at it because I got to remind myself. what those little things mean, the amounts. Coconut macaroons or petitfours. I don't think I've ever made petitfours, but I have made coconut macaroons before, and they sound good, just like the divinity. Oh, we're sitting here making ourselves hungry by talking about these recipes. And a lot of the recipes were at Christmas time. Um, a lot of the special candy recipes that we got. Something that my mother didn't make was ribbon candy, and you hardly ever see it. Occasionally, they'll have some at Walmart or one of the dollar stores, but you hardly ever see ribbon candy. Um, Kathy says almost never listen to the radio, even on trips. Yeah, me either. Sometimes if we have a really long trip, like when we went to California, we would get audiobooks and mysteries usually. Um, I don't know why Nightbot is holding out somebody's comments. 7-Eleven for us with big gulps and big wheels. Big wheels? Was that those big candy? Is that what they were? Martha Washington balls? I don't know what those are. I got to look that up. Oh, yes. Ribbon candy and rock candy. Yes. And horehound candy. And the kids are like, and horehound candy, of course, is used, they melted it and used it for cough medicine too. Teresa probably already knows about that. Uh, Kathy says, I love talking with David and dreaming about the land. Yeah. When you're riding with someone, it's a good opportunity to communicate with them. Now I will take my crocheting and I will crochet while, because he likes to drive. Um, so I will take my crocheting and sometimes I take a paperback book. I still hold a paperback book. I like those little, small ones, and they're easy to carry around. When we would go camping, I would always take a book. I didn't take the computer, I took a book. Um, Ice cream, yes. Now, the only ice cream we ever got when we were kids was my mother would make the snow ice cream because it did snow in Oklahoma. So she would go out and get fresh snow and put a little vanilla and probably a little bit of sugar. I don't know how she made it, but I know how I would make it. But and she would make up, and that would be the only time that we would get a treat like ice cream. We didn't do store-bought ice cream. I don't ever remember getting store-bought ice cream. Horehound candy is my favorite. Really? I love it too. I like licorice too. And anytime there's licorice in a mix, everybody goes around the licorice and I pick out the licorice. I like it. But those are the kind of candies that we grew up on. Butterscotch disc. Now that was probably a real treat, was the butterscotch disc. Um, and of course the little peppermint, they've been around a long time too. Those little peppermint. I would put my rock candy on the snowbank to crack. Oh yeah, that's right. You just freeze it. Snow ice cream. Yeah. I mean, even homemade ice cream. How many people still make homemade ice cream in a crank? Actually crank it. We have one, but it's in the barn, and we haven't used it in a long time. Now, my husband loves to make ice cream with it. So yeah, that's probably one of those things. And it doesn't make a whole lot. So you have to make it and then make more when you have 13, 14 people together. Um, but you just sit and everybody's waiting for it to finally stop, and everybody takes turn cranking, and that's really family fun. It's not hurry up and let's eat so we can go do something away from the rest of the family. um to me, that's what I look forward to in the holidays, is getting together with family and doing. Sometimes we'll put a puzzle up. We got some kind of puzzle. Ice cream is called big wheels. I don't know what those are. Huh. I'll have to research that, Teresa. See, some of those things we did or we ate and we didn't know what they were called. We just ate them. But yeah. So yeah, that is the fun. I love to put a puzzle on one of the tables and everybody try, they'll sit down and do a little bit of it and then they'll go off and then they'll come back and back and forth somebody will be working on that puzzle or playing checkers or tic-tac-toe or we used to play Monopoly, but boy, that can go into hours into the night. um, Hours. And you always have somebody that buys all the houses and motels and puts us all in bankruptcy. Remember the Brock's candy display? Yes, yes. See, all of those good things are just so packaged up and commercialized that the younger people, it takes away from the memories that they're going to carry with them because they won't remember those like we remember the ones that we're talking about now. The memories of you can't replace, yes. And we remember the folks that was there, the grandparents, the aunts and uncles and the cousins. And we all got together usually at our grandma's house because she liked them all to come and she liked to cook for them. And we always went home with something. And one of her favorite things year round was she always had frozen pear in the freezer, and they were wrapped in wax paper, and they were in a shoebox. And when we come, that would be our treat, like candy. And we would get one of those frozen pears and go out in the yard, and as it defrosts, it's really good. I mean, it's really good. Um, Lisa says 2 cookies with a scoop of ice cream in the middle. Yeah, that's it. Um, they still have Brock's displays at Bass Pro. Oh, they do. I haven't been to Bass Pro Shop in a long time. Now, I do have a $25 gift card. We played a game at Thanksgiving and it had to do with solo cups. And my son and his wife, they put all kinds of little, dollar store goodies and some dollars and a couple of $5 and just some little prizes. And even the kids got to choose one of these cups. Well, we got to choose a couple of times. And I won a $25 gift card from Bass Pro Shop. So I can't wait to go and spend that. Let's see. Um, hey, Christy Betts, good to see you. You like the door? That is the barn door to my daughter's bedroom. She has another one that goes into her laundry room also. And at my son's house, his are white, but they made their doors. It was pretty cool. I like barn doors. Um, Makes you feel like, well, in her house, her living room is almost the size of the whole house. And it's all open. It's really cool. We love uh coming to the kids' house because each one of them have, really big rooms for that kind of stuff. YouTube keeps cutting me off. Really? Um, we had bad storms here last night, but it's good today. It's going to be good until Monday, I think. Papa says 30 to 40 people at a meal. Yes, and everybody. Usually, we had the little card tables. Y'all remember those little card tables? And there was all over the room, and the kids got to sit at the card tables or had to sit at the. They weren't really you know, we were relegated to the corner. The adults sat at the big table, but the big table was huge. And I mean, it was just huge and it was benches. It wasn't chairs. So you could fit 20 people at a table. So yeah. Um, let's see. What did I miss? Apple salad. Lisa, that sounds really good. Apple salad. So we're going to come up with all kinds of old-fashioned recipes that are really just simple and um, apple brown Betty. Is that what it was like a bread pudding? I remember that. I remember that too. Gummy says me also. Kathy cuts me off and won't let me send a text. Oh, really? I didn't know that. So yeah, there's all kinds of old uh, recipes that have been passed down, whether they know they passed them down or not, um, that we could come up with. There's lots of collabs and I love doing them. I absolutely love doing them. I meet a lot of new people, and that's probably how I've grown my almost 700 subscribers, is just a little at a time. Hey Gwen, how are you? Broke girl, cowgirl. Um, Late getting here. I have hubby's great grandma's handwritten recipe book. Really? Oh, I bet you could find something really good. We're talking about maybe doing a little hashtag collab of old recipes from home. Um, just something, I don't know, just something to share. I love sharing about family things like that. Like I said, not all of them are written down. Hey Glenn, how to garden? How are you doing? Christy says, I bought my mama's card table with green stamps. Green stamps, I forgot about those. See, isn't it great that we jog each other's memories? Green stamps. We would go to the Sinclair gas station to get make sure we got our green stamps. Hey Big Tiny's Outdoors, good morning. How are you? It sounds like fun. That yes, it's an open collab. Nobody's special is tagged. It's just anyone who wants to be part of it. And I'll post it also. Um, and I think we have an idea what our hashtag is going to be, and I'll post it, and we can start adding to it in the month of December and see what we come up with. Find one of those old family recipes that we've missed, that it would be nice to share. And it might bring someone happiness, just to remember some of the old days instead of all of the crazy stuff going on in the world today. Yes, good, Teresa. I've never gotten a collab together to you guys. I've never done that. And I've been here is almost my 2-year anniversary. Um, but it took a lot to take me out of my shell. I was scared to death, like all of us, when we start something. And I was pretty sure that nobody really wanted to listen to me talk because I don't have refined language at all. I'm just me. Um, so yeah, and I talk too much. And I don't hear well. So, what's new with everybody else? you know. So Big Tiny says, I am well, just finished canning up 12 quarts of venison last night, up until after midnight. Wow. Kathy was doing venison this week also. She been canning oh no, you've been canning turkeys and venison, right? If she's still on here. Um, like I said, you fit in with all the rest of us. you know, I don't know what I thought YouTube was, because honestly, I had never really, I'd looked up things here and there, but I really had no experience with YouTube at all before I started. I did 11 quarts of turkey bone broth Saturday, Gwen said. I only got 2.5 quarts from my turkey, because only well, somehow the carcass disappeared. So I only got the legs and the wings. So, but I didn't catch them before they threw the carcass away. Um, yeah, that morning I was chasing dogs and the cows got out and everybody, my dinner was late, and it's like, it was just one of those days. Uh, let's see. Kathy said, yes, both of us, both of them. Yeah. Yeah. Well, then I learned that everybody on YouTube, and the first experience was homesteaders, that we were all just regular people. We're just regular people. I mean, everybody that I follow or watch their videos, they have something kind of in common, that either I would like to be or do or try, or it's just the way we do it too. So Tiny says, cool. I don't use a pressure cooker. I can though. I don't have a pressure cooker. I don't have an instant pot. Um, One time I was in a collab where they gave an instant pot away, and oh, I was just holding my fingers, hoping, oh, it'd be nice to win one of them. But I've never bought one. Gwen says I wasn't going to make any, but after all the holiday cooking, I realized I only had 1 pint left in the pantry. Yeah, and it really comes in handy because I like to make just regular soups, chicken soups, and casseroles, and I mean, it does. It really has a better taste than the broth that you buy at the store. Definitely. Um, Tiny says, "Good comment on old ways." Yeah, my old saying, "I am me. It is all I will ever be is me." Yes. If you don't like the me, that's okay. Because that's all I am change for anyone. I grew up the way I grew up and I remember the things I do. The things I do now reflected what I did as a child, what I learned. So, you know, yes, ma'am, I can straight in a jar in the oven. Yeah. Um, Kathy says I got a turkey in the oven and one still to go out of six. Yeah, Glenn says, hang on, he's coming up. Um, yeah, Kathy found the absolute just jackpot on turkeys. I think she paid $5 and $6 a piece for some of these turkeys. And how many you had? Six total? Yeah. So she's been trying to can them and cook them and can them and get them all prepped and in her pantry, her freezer, whatever she's putting them probably. Um, I did find a good buy on turkeys a couple of years ago, and I ended up getting $4 a piece for them. But this year they were at my Walmart, they were still $1.38 a pound. They weren't selling them cheap at all. And luckily my son had one in his freezer from the last time we found good turkeys. So he already had it. So we didn't have to buy it. But I honestly didn't want to pay $20 for a turkey. I said I would rather just have a ham. If I'm going to pay $15, you know, I'll pay 10 or 12, $15 for a good ham, but you know, I'd rather have ham than turkey. Let's see. Gummy says, I sure wished I lived around y'all. I'd be happy with some of your canning. Yeah, you got to learn to can, Donna. Gwen says we were given four 4-H turkeys during the summer and we processed them. Oh, nice. And Kathy paid 49 cents a pound. I don't know what I'm missing because it keeps shutting me off. Oh, we're still just talking about the old ways. You I know when it cuts off or you get behind, um, I tried to make sure I'm not on top chat, that I'm on live chat. And you have to keep refreshing because YouTube has its funny little ways. Christy says, I finally used the Instapot my sister gave me a couple of years ago. Cook quick so I didn't have to run the generator long. Yeah, and that's great because you're living on semi off grid, uh, trying to get your new place together. And I mean, that's really great. I mean, we have a generator and we have to drag it out of the barn, when we need it. So I think when he finishes putting the house together, that we're going to set a permanent place for it where we would normally use it. That way, all we got to do is hook it up. We don't have to go through all that trouble of dragging it out and, across the wet and muddy ground and stuff. And, but yeah, because we use the generator for his air hoses and stuff like that anyway. So Kathy says, I'm using all the breast for sandwich meat, dark meat on musing, using the canned soup, and I'm making broth with all the juice. Yeah, you're going to use everything. And now me, when I got done, if I had bones left, then I would cook it for the bone broth and then, mix it in the dog's food, the little pieces, because the bone's good for them. Um, and the pigs they absolutely love uh, groceries that you got to throw out. They like making their when I make them slop maybe once a week. They love it. They love it. Uh, let's see. Gwen says, I'm going to be outside, but listening. We'll be watching for the old recipe hashtag. Oh, good, good. I'm excited about that. Like I said, I've never started one. And my sister and I were talking about it yesterday. And she's like, I tagged you in something. I go, you did? So she started explaining what she was doing. And I thought, well, we should just open it up. And anybody who wants to join in, let them join in. Um, so we don't have to call out anybody particular if you don't have time to do it. There's a lot going on this time of year, so we understand that. But yeah, it sounds like fun. I'm excited to learn some of these older recipes or see them again. They're actually, watch them. You can write the recipes down. Teresa says the only bad thing about generators is they only have to listen to find you. Yes. That's right. That's right. But usually we only use ours when we have a bad storm and we want to keep the incubators running. We got baby chicks under lights, and keep our refrigerators and the freezers running. Everything else we can have sandwiches. We're not worried about cooking. And we've got cook stoves in the camper that are butane. So we could manage. It doesn't scare me to not have electricity like it would some. I know a lot of y'all it wouldn't scare you to not have electricity because at one time in your life you may have been without it and or learned to be without it, whether it was camping or whether it was actually living off grid. But so no, it doesn't really scare me. I've got fish in my pond. We've got our freezers are full of the two cows that we processed. We've got venison in the freezer. Um, you can grow a garden. I've got chickens in the yard. I've got eggs. We're not going to starve. I can make bread. So it doesn't scare me like it may someone else is like, oh my gosh, if we don't have electricity, what are we going to do? Or if the grocery store's out of something, what are we going to do? You can make your own buttermilk. You can make your own butter. My mother used to make cottage cheese, and I actually don't know how she made it, but I need to learn to do that because I loved her cottage cheese. But I mean, she did all those things and she didn't have all those extras, and we didn't starve, you know. None of us starved. So, but anyway, let's see. What's the time? Let's see. I guess it's getting late, guys. I've had a good time talking to you all. You've been without power almost 5 years now. Really, Teresa? And see, it doesn't scare you. You know exactly how to manage without it, and you've learned. Kathy says, I would never starve because I may not have what I like to eat, but I may not like. That's right. You might have something that you don't want to eat, but you're not going to starve. Even if it's going out and picking up dandelions out of the yard. Um, we got wild onions. I mean, we got dandelions. I mean, there's things that we could eat if we knew what we were eating, if we knew how to forage those kind of things. Um, so yeah, but no, it wouldn't scare me. And I'm okay with, you know, eating what I have. And if I don't have it, ooh, I would hate it if I had to give up coffee though. Now I don't know about that. I'd have to find me a place that had real coffee beans because I like my coffee. Even the cowboys had coffee, right? They always had coffee and salt, and they could buy salt pork, and they bought flour. Thank you for extending my challenge to share and make a dish from loved ones with memories. Got to go outside now and help Steve. Yes, I know y'all got work to do. Everybody has work to do. Teresa says Cherokee wild onions and scrambled eggs. Ooh, sounds good, Teresa. Um, yes. So we'll think about um, what we want to do with our recipes from home. Kathy's trying to grow coffee beans, really. Well, you might could where you're at in Florida. I don't think we could in Georgia. Now, when I visited Hawaii, everybody in their it I was on the Big Island, everybody had coffee trees in their yards. Um, Gwen says, I recently found a channel that cooks foods like they did in the colonial days. Can't remember the name of the channel. I do watch one, the Appalachian, she's called Appalachian, darn, can't remember her whole channel name, but she does a lot of cooking and shares a lot of her ways, the Appalachian ways of cooking. Um, so it's pretty cool that, you know, it's basic cooking, nothing fancy, but just basic cooking. But I mean, Teresa said, yes, we have been watching that channel for many years. You know which one I'm talking about. Yeah, she's very soothing too to listen to her. The same thing with Mr. Brown and Miss Brown, whatever their name is. Dang, I got a brain freeze today. Um, I love watching her also. Um, and there's a couple of channels that do Mennonite cooking. I love watching them because it just it's just good hearty food, and not a lot of fancy stuff, and it's stuff that you think, I remember having that as a kid. That's what that's called. We ate it because it was put on the table. We didn't get to choose what we wanted to eat. Now we make a mistake by asking the kids, what do you feel like eating? Our food was cooked and put on the table, and if you didn't want to eat it, you just starve. Uh, this is cooking in the fireplace. Oh, really? Cooking in the fireplace? Now that's really unusual. I love watching those. I've seen them cooking on a fire outdoors before, but not in a fireplace. I have a bean pot that was made for a fireplace, like a Dutch oven. The Townsend is the other channel. The Townsends. Okay. Yeah. Whippoorwill Holler. That's her. Yeah. Now she's very soothing too. I love, it's like it just feels like she's putting her arms around you and sharing her little meal with you. And, and the way she talks about Mr. Brown. So yeah. So I watch other channels though. I watch channels in the yarn community. I watch them in the RVing and the traveling, and there's some that play games, and I'm amazed at how they play games, but I never play. But it's like, how do you play bingo? I don't know how they do that, but and I don't have maybe 3 hours to sit and do it at a time. So my time is not broke up like that. It's usually small bouts of watching. So because on the farm, as y'all know, you still have things to do, and not everyone has animals. Yes, she's from Texas, I do believe. Yes, yes, that's pretty cool though. So, all right, guys, I guess we'll wrap it up today, and I'll see y'all next week. And be looking for my post on the community page about the hashtag, um, the old recipes, and we can get this done and get some new ideas maybe before Christmas. Your stats are going to be off because I keep losing you and it just blinks out. Really? Well, I don't watch the stats very often, so I wouldn't know if they were messed up. Everyone, take care and have a blessed day, says Teresa. I'm so glad you all came in, and we'll see you next week. Everybody have a good week and hope your weather's good. Um, we're done with the bad weather for this last 24 hours, so we got maybe another 5 or 6 days before we're hit again. Bye, Gummy, and we'll see you all later. Bye. Have a good week. Thanks for coming.